MK Ultra. Well, I'm gonna go back to my very first introduction to Mansonology, which is my first brush with them, which I recalled a few years after I actually saw them. When I was a kid, we used to drive from LA County, San Gabriel Valley, Whittier, if you must know, North Whittier. You ever been to Elsa Street? I don't think you have. It's not memorable. Well, it was, but it wasn't. Anyway, so to get to the High Sierras, the East Sierras, you had to go through Death Valley and Bishop and Lone Pine and Independence. Independence, neat little town. So we pulled down off the road to Chester, stretch our legs so mom and dad can get some cocktails down their gullet. They were drunks. And I had a habit of wandering when I was a kid. I would walk in a trance state just for ages. Just wander off. Not on purpose, but so I wandered up to a whole bunch of what were obviously hippie girls. I hadn't seen a whole bunch of them, but man, they were pretty, and they invited me to come along with them. And oddly enough, I really wanted to. Really wanted to go with them. I felt drawn. Those are the Manson girls. And I just remember them as a guy. I want to be with those girls. There's something about those girls. There's a world out there. And it wasn't about sex. It was just, maybe I hated my family so much I wanted to hang out with a bunch of crazy chicks. That's never left me yet. But they got to be of age. They got to be after 35. Yeah, I know I'm an old coot. And that's kind of young for me. But if you're 35, is a non-pervy age, somewhere around there. So, And I've asked a couple of fairly normal women friends, like, is that degenerate? Is that sicko? Like, no, it's kind of pushing your life a lot, but there's nothing pervy about it. Don't worry about that. And it wasn't going to happen anyway, but you want to know this stuff just in case. Yeah. I have no desire to fall in love. Crushes? Funny. What does that have to do with MK Ultra? Perhaps nothing. Perhaps, I don't know. Professor Friendship is cool to the fact that he understands with absurdity the meaning behind it, and everything can be connected. So, I don't know. The French professor and I are starting to understand each other and actually like each other, which is cool. It's adversarial for us. We were both smart. That makes us arrogant. I'm educated. Well, so am I. I went to school. I'm an autodidact. You two sworn enemies. Dogs and cats. So MK Ultra. I think, well, it's been in the back of my head for ages that I wanted to look into it. Then I decided I'm going to bypass that and just understand it, which my introduction kind of covered really nicely. But yeah, you come across subcultures that are obviously part of something a lot larger. It used to be cool. Cool was a concept I understood too well. Some people are cool, some people aren't. That's lost in the society, by the way. That's never coming back. There's no such thing as cool. Young people aren't ever going to be cool ever again because, again, subculture. And I'm talking about relatively integrated and contained subcultures, which the hippies are part of. And the hippies were a sinister part of it. And yeah, there were a lot of Manson-y types back then. That's been whitewashed. Satanists, MK Ultra, all over the place with stuff. They really wanted to balkanize subcultures and therefore dilute the power. So mind altering drugs were a big part of it, but then again, all these other drugs got dropped into the situation system, and that was by design. I mean, the more you demonize something, the more you try to control it. Nick, nod, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The more people will want it. Bait for idiots. Why do you think there's so many fucking junkies in the world? It's now it's an attempt at some culture, but it used to be. Heroin used to be cool. I'm sorry, there's no way around it. I've known a bunch of old junkies, and smart junkies get really old. They have deep souls. To be an old junkie, you can't be stupid, can you? And you have this sorrow, built-in sorrow, and old junkies, they'll weather out withdrawals. I mean, essentially, it's like a really bad hangover. It's exactly the same thing as a severe alcohol withdrawal, not the kind of 3-day hangovers that people think are really it's a baby habit. I'm talking 2 weeks of pure agony. So junkies and old drunks understand each other very, very well. Smart old drunks. I don't understand stupid. Well, I do understand stupid people, but I'm sorry, that's just not my gig. I've been around. I've had to be around them. Well, drinking will put you in a bad company, like drugs, and I did my drugs too. Did my drugs. Was that a part of the subculture? Well, no. Actually, that punk rock dissolved that for a while. Then it just became lame. There was absolutely no real punk rock after 1985. I'm sorry, kids, the war was over. You missed it. You don't get to be that again. You can pretend and get the fashion all wrong because, well, most punks look like everybody else. I mean, I was one of the weirdos who would wear the safety pin slashed stuffed arrow shirts. I got that in about 87, 77, excuse me. Yeah, I didn't have much ability to go to shows until much later because I was broke. My parents were awful, but I listened to the music and read my Flipside magazines. You get your grubby mints on some of the old Flipsides. I think you can find them online. They're hilarious. The early ones, not the later ones. The ones that's from the 70s till about 1980. I mean, they were Xeroxed, crudely stapled, full of type. Well, they were written on a typewriter at Rick's Charburger's restaurant. That place used to be a zoo. God, I love it. Those were good days. They are really bad days, but you have a bunch of bad days, but you have islands. That's back then when there was a thriving punk subculture, which also budded into pretty literary stuff. I was a literary type back then, a writer, reader. Thought it was going to be something, until realized that literature is essentially obsolete by that point. But it was great creating it, and notebooks, and sharing books, and living it, and feeling like you really had some kind of success in the horizon, but knowing full well it was going to dissolve into nothingness. And the whole subculture just imploded. I left. I was the first one to bail from Southern California on and off. I'd show back up expecting to be hailed as the conquering hero, and people were so bored they didn't want to hear my stories. And always felt like if I travel in my own California way, people I'll be exotic. It doesn't brush off. Though I was having my adventures, I was enjoying them. Sweet roving solitude. That was another thing that kept me away from anything resembling MK Ultra is the need for solitude, the lack of desire to be in groups when I was traveling, uh, as much pure thought, thinking and drinking, and finding casual labor. That's what I did. That's where I was. Not seeing televisions. Usually, if I had a radio, which was very frequent, it was an AM radio, piece of shit, and I would listen to just whatever crap I could listen to, hoping that I would hear something resembling decent rock and roll. Just, and then again, oftentimes didn't have the radio. It was just something too much to pack. I used to write by candle light if I could. Light, yeah. All the writing's gone. I'm glad it's gone. I don't miss it. It did add up to nothing, but I learned how to do it. Unfortunately, I can't really do it anymore. Now it's taken away. All things get taken away. Yeah. But I remember having all I ever wanted to do is be a good writer, and I was a very good writer. I can still hack through it. I mean, I can write decent prose. It's choppy because of the strokes. I miss sentences here and there, and word scramble. I think I had some kind of dyslexia as a kid. I had to really teach myself how to read and do it well. One of roads. But you guys are integrated into a subculture. You seem paranoidally attached to it. Just too many rituals, so many unwritten rules. Do you understand that you're fully integrated into the brave new world that you speak, Newspeak, that MK Ultra owns your sorry asses? Do you mind that? I doubt that. You would. Why not? It's cozy and comfortable, and really, there's no reason to, but us to not trying to be creative. But we have lunatics like Sauce is a fucking beatnik. That guy he's a dynamo. It's lovely just being his friend, and he's the opposite of MK Ultra, which means he's he's one of the rare ones. I've met that type. I'm gonna have to sign off for 1 second because of coffee. So it's gonna make that weird noise, and I don't care because I'm me. Yeah, I'm probably speaking out of turn, but I don't know. We kind of like to wake some people up a little, and I have. I think and I see people. I'm really being unfair. So you guys in my circle, well, not my circle, but the circle I'm in, sure as hell not mine. I don't rate that. I have no clout whatsoever, and I like it that way. I'm not cloudy. Yeah. I just want to see people more. I want to feel them rattle their chains and realize the old Johnny Rotten thing. You ever have the feeling you've been cheated? Which is, I think, the last line of the last Sex Pistols show, and I think the professor got it wrong. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then we had the Sex Pistols. God, it was hard to get that album. There's all kinds of hang-ups, and I really wanted my copy, and I got to hear it played in entirety at a Weirdo show on the Sunset Strip. That was great, the Weirdos. And the Bags. Look them up. You can still hear their music. It's fucking great. It's pure LA. I'm an LA boy, man. I don't live in LA, but I'm an LA boy. And I went back, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. I spent some months in LA County, and yeah, it was is what it was, and it's a part of L.A. County that, unless you're from that area, it's giant suburban tracks, but mostly Latino, which is really cool, and lower middle class, but nice yards, very nice yards. Mexicans like having nice yards, and they're house proud. They're just really good neighbors. There's always one grouchy white family, like, oh, I remember this day when it was like Downey, and when I was in Downey, it was full of Okies, and nothing wrong with Okies. I'm not going to get into the slurry thing. Self-described, and that was interesting. They all got there during World War II. There was a Boeing, I think it was Boeing plant there, and you know, I think there still is one. It just, yeah, segregation, Jim Crow, but just separate enclaves, and they're all very similar but very different at the same time, and extremely settled, nice people, the kind of people I would steal stuff from their yards and get drunk and wander around, wishing I had a home. I used to not peer into the woods, from the sidewalk, and see the TV lights, and people kind of bumping around. What is it like to live in a house like that now? I've really forgotten. I'm feral. I'm a wild animal. Again, I wasn't well integrated into the lumpen society so beloved by people of the internet. The materialism is just crass to the extreme. And I see that fall with some of my friends. And I think I could turn them around, but poverty is not a sin. It can be creative. It can be kind of cool. Why judge people in their living rooms? You people, you're too smart for that shit. Come on. Live a little. Learn what other people. I don't view mine as a torture, but it's different. Very different. I like where I'm at. I go crazy in a suburban house now. I don't want it. I don't desire it. I detest the very thought. I love living in my one little room with my little separate bathroom. I got to clean this jump up. The depression really sneaks up on you. It's not entirely unpleasant. It's just you wake up and God, my room's a horror. I need to fix it, which I'm starting to do again. I know I always say that, but this time I mean it. Going broke's an adventure. I'm not enjoying it, but I bought myself a jumbo bag of rolling tobacco, which is going to be an adventure. I've got enough food. That's cool. Bills are essentially, bills are paid, which amounts to telephone, which is also internet, and what else? Nothing else. Food I can scrounge. Being that I'm essentially, just dyed-in-the-wool recluse. Yeah, people give me shit for that too. And thanks a lot, guys. I wish I could do something about it, but apparently I can't. Anyway, I kind of like being a recluse, or I don't know, I'm not averse to it. So now I get Meals on Wheels. Yep. So I eat a balanced meal every day, which I can't really force myself to do for whatever reason, and I found out finally that Meals on Wheels doesn't charge, and that's going to boost my grocery budget a lot, because it's going to be half my food intake, which will be beans and rice, and more rice and beans. So I have a whopping $50 to get me through until New Year's. Oh shit! What did I do to myself? I did it purposely to a degree, and I'm so sorry I did it. But again, I'm not gonna bother bore you with that. Because what has that got to do with MK Ultra? My life was immune to it. I hung out with people who slipped through the cracks, and that was coolness. There was a rhythm there. Disparate beings meeting in the middle just to try to create something wonderfully cool and our own. And yeah, there was a sense of community, but at the same time, there's a lot of solitude. We'd meet maybe twice a day at Bob's Big Boy Restaurant or Jack's. Oh no, it was Rick's Burgers. We go to Bob's if we could spare the 55 cents for coffee and drink refills till we came close to dying, or go to Rick's where it was 25 cents a cup. Refills. We weren't supposed to have them, but the owner, Rick, was an old Nazi. I mean, for real, he was a freaking Nazi, and he loved having white young men in his restaurant who were reading, and we oftentimes wore ties. So I think he just had flashbacks of Nuremberg rallies or something. And the manager hated us, Jose. I remember one day I'm sitting reading and writing by the window, a lovely, glorious day by myself, and he purposely started spraying Raid all over the restaurant, close to my coffee, with a ghoulish smile on his beak. Fucking Jose. So years later, perhaps a couple of decades later, I was dating a girlfriend who I dated back in 1978. This is in the 2000s. So we go to Rick's, my hometown. Oh, it's nice. Trees got bigger. That's nice. Let's go to Rick's and wonder if I could get a really bad burrito and some bad coffee. So we go in, and it's the same place, redecorated a little bit. They moved the bathroom from one bathroom to the other. So the stalls were, I used to go to the left, now it's to the right. You're confusing me. I need my reflex. You moved the toilet. And I sit down and talk to Barbara, who was my ex at that time. God, I wonder if Rick's still alive. She's now, God, it's got to be 150 years ago. And I look up and I hear that Austrian voice. It's Rick. And I look to my right. There's Jose. They're still there. I wonder if Hot Heidi's there too. Rick had twin daughters who were the most beautiful Bavarian sisters in the world, and we weren't allowed to even look at them, and they were mean chicks, but they knew they were going to spend the rest of their lives flipping burgers in the Rick Empire, and I think Rick's had like 4 or 5 locations at some point. God, all about the same. But Rick's wasn't cheap anymore, was it? Damn, just saying, could have gone to a real restaurant for that money. That was good. But then you realize that what little integration you ever had is gone, long gone, all evaporated. It imploded and evaporated like a subculture really is supposed to. Not anymore. There's one continuous ectoplasm that is the internet world, which is the online environment, and it's too universal. There can't be subcultures anymore. That's a lacking thing, which gives way to MK Ultra. The conspiracies are true. I mean, society is heavily engineered. There's no way around it now. Society has evolved to a point where it's no longer going to really evolve. You can't evolve. Devo is here, devolution. MK Ultra 1. And I'm telling you, marijuana is one of the driving forces. It's not the safety denying thing. People smoke tons of this shit. and don't quit. If it's a drug, you just don't quit. You're addicted. I'm sorry. Yeah. Try quitting the stuff. You're going to feel really stupid for a while, and you're not going to be in a good mood. Since even in the 70s, I knew pot addicts. Yeah, they ran out of pot. They were miserable, grumpy human beings, and all they want to do is score a bag of wheat. Yeah, it wasn't a real. It was a sissy Jones. Maybe good alcohol habit, good pill habit. I had one of those pill habits. I loved that. Benzedrine. That was the drug. God, I miss Benzedrine. That was a speed you could walk on, right on, walk on, party on, cheap as hell, not incredibly harmful, mildly addictive, I would say, but it was a pretty weak speed. So it was really effective in actually doing things. You could work on it. But that was truck driver culture. Those pills just spilled over. They're abundant, and I'm sure the flow came partially under the noses of our federal government. You want to keep people drugged. Tell them they can't have it. They'll give it. I don't understand why people are smoking some pot so much, because there's nothing rebellious about it. Just a flimsy federal crime that most places have it. Other people want. I have to go all the way to another county to get it. In a storefront, it's not the same thing. It's delicate and shit expensive too. You buy these tiny little bags of nothingness. Back in the old days, you get the big ounce, actually 5 finger lives of really cheap, low grade pot, but it did the job. And people didn't tend not, they didn't have to, what's the word? Develop resistance or whatever it is. Yeah. So, if I could be scared of anything, if I had any allegiance to the world, I'd say, hey, the pot thing, you better re-examine because it's doing a lot of damage. At least drinking, you know you're fucking up. Smoking cigarettes, you know you're fucking up, but if you're a drunk and don't know you're a drunk, you got a problem. But if you do, you're a drunk, like I'm a drunk, I'm flawed, everything else, and okay, something to work with. You're not saying this is beneficial. This is my medicine. Hear one person running on about how much it helps you. It really doesn't. It doesn't. Very few instances when that's what is really going to help you. If you find a doctor who recommends pot, you found a bad doctor. Very bad doctor. The doctors I've gone to, I've asked point blank, do you prescribe pot? No, we think it's a very bad idea and a very bad idea for you. That's what I call a good doctor. Because shit's terrible for me. It's terrible for some of the people I know who smoke it religiously because it just wings them out. It makes them unfunctional. And I know people get up in arms, their allegiance to drugs. Hey, you're a drug addict. If you know you're a drug addict. I'm a giant pothead. I like being high all the time. I can respect that. I'll get behind that. The world pisses me off. I just want to turn myself off. Groovy. Just remember to turn yourself back on once in a while. Clear your head for a while. See what's going on. After the misery wears off, and there's going to be a minor misery, you'll get a pink cloud, and then pretty soon you're going to want to smoke anymore. You're going to want to smoke again, and you will. It's just never going to end. That's fine, but just take the breaks, please. Completely put the pipe away or whatever you're using, and just go straight. Well, my drinking, I quit for a year. I quit for months. Well, it was a problem. There were reasons for me doing it. I didn't like it, and I really wanted to drink. Don't get me wrong. It's the only point in my life, my adult life, that I've ever had no desire to stop no desire to drink. That was mechanical. I couldn't do my meds on top of drinking. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. It was taken away from me. It pisses you off. It should piss you off when stuff you really desire and value is gone by the wayside. But I'm not part of MK Ultra. I understand these things. I understand drugs. I know drugs like the back of my hand. I have theories on pot, how to on speed, on meth. I'll go into someday because they're valid. I know they're very close to being the laws. They're definitely valid theories that even my doctors refuse to listen to. I'm not saying this stuff's good for you because it's absolutely not. It's not the same speed. Nobody wants to hear me, but it's not the same speed. Look it up. It's chemically different. They skipped a step into the refinement, and that's where the big speed problem is. Tweaking. You gotta don't demonize them. They're probably not going to pull out of it ever. Somebody should try to feed them on occasion, keep them from freezing to death, but it's hard to. Can't house them. They break everything. They burn stuff. They're very social, and that clues me in that it's a bad drug if it just makes you want to be social. Cocaine, interesting drug. I miss it, but I never had a giant addiction to it either. I mean, like alcohol, speed, and whatever else. That's pretty much it. But cocaine was a party favorite. I really liked getting a gram and just doing it very slowly with people who like to do it slowly and not be snort hogs, hooters. You try to party with them, and it was all about the damn powder. They wanted more. They would just stare at it. The last time I did that around people, I just gave them the Coke and walked away. Because I would always divide my Coke. Like, okay, well, I'll go halves on a gram with you, but tell you what, when you run out, you're out. When I run out, I'll have some. I'll save some for for a couple of days and really enjoy it. And they would kick down. It's the rules. They'd invent these weird drug rules that I'd never heard of. I parceled my out. I wanted you to do some tomorrow or tonight. Or you did all your drugs. These people would wheedle and whine. That's addiction, and they're just addicted to being addicted to. They like the Jonesy. They like acquiring it. It's a big pain in the ass to score. It always takes like 7 hours. When I was doing a lot of coke in downtown LA, I picked it up every Friday afternoon. It was only slightly cut. It was very good coke, and the prices were great because it was loan sharking for a very bad dealer. Running out of money, and his wife is on his ass, so he had to borrow from me. So I'd buy a gram of coke and get another coke gram at a time, and I always got paid back. Essentially, I wasn't spending that much money. Very little. And I'd get my coke, and it would last me a week. And I'd party hard on it too. At that point, I was going to do a lot of shows. And whatever else I was doing. And I was living in Hollywood. I worked in downtown LA. That was glorious. It was about a year. That was enough of it. Probably a lifetime, but that was a hell of a year. I was so punk rock. I was so strung out. It was like living a Black Flag song. Oh, yeah. It was cool. Sauce would have loved it for a year. Come on, dude. Let's go do stupid shit. I only went to jail once. And that was overnight. Cops would gently leave you alone until they got the wild urge to crack down on whoever happens to be walking down the sidewalk with a beer in his hand, which you could kind of get away with. And then I got popped with a generic beer in my hand, and I didn't even realize I was carrying a beer. So I always did. I love beer. Pissed me off. Spent the night in the Beverly Hills jail of all places. I hit the big time. Beverly Hills substation. Got a ticket I never paid. I paid it eventually down the line. I don't even remember paying it, but I know I did. I got popped for something, and it was still LA County, so I just got got forgiven somehow or another. I never paid my tickets. Never. You go to warrant and I'd go to jail. Get out in 2 days. Whatever. Or usually overnight. I don't want your ticket anymore. Get out of here, punk. You're sober. Get out of here. Best one I ever got was the angel dust bust, which wasn't me. Because I got arrested for urinating in public at a college, which I richly deserved because I was blitzed out of my fucking brain. So they cart me over to I think it had to have been Santa Fe Springs Jail or Pico Rivera. I always get them. Go there. It's horrible. I'm drunk. I'm not even coming down. I pretend I'm a Buddhist chanting and I'm channeling out Jack Kerouac and thinking that I could overcome the bitter cold because it's cold in those they call it a cooler for a reason. Whew, cold and shitty and stuffed up toilets. Yeah, the holding tank is the worst part of jail. But you get out of it pretty quick. But I was going to get a pretty vicious ticket. There might have been a couple weeks of time behind it. You don't want to do that. There's another guy in there who was being a complete asshole, and I just defended him, and so they were. Oh, that wasn't that guy. It was just some illegal alien getting out with his angel dust ticket. I'm gonna go down for bus or dust. That's a pretty big thing. And I look at my ticket. I'm like, wait a minute, are you Jose Ramirez or whatever the name? I was like, no, give him my name. But dude, we sent the wrong tickets. They gave us the wrong tickets. You know what that means? Like, what does it mean? It means you don't have to pay these. Call tomorrow and see what happens. I called the next day. Nope. No fine for you. We screwed up. Free pass. So that was kind of cool. But I get out that morning and I actually had defended some really crazy ass Mexican guy. And he finally realized, you got me out of a fight. I said, I kind of did. You're being a big dick. You know, I was bigger than they were. They could have killed me, but I just said, leave him alone. Small guy. Leave him alone. He's a big mouth. And I'm going to sock you up. If you don't shut up, these guys are going to kill you. It's going to just shut up. I'm starting to sober up. I'm just quiet anyway. And my dad actually had come to get me out of jail because I thought he could do that, and he had to go home. And oh God, he was pissed off at me. It's my second jail visit, I think. After that, I realized they always let you out, so I just don't call anybody. God, just don't do that. Just don't fucking do that. You'll get out anyway. So I leave with the guy, and he has a card. So we need to ride anywhere. I said, yeah, I'm going to North Whittier, man. He said, okay, I'm going to buy you a beer first. Alcohol, you say? Yeah, it's only a great idea. We get up at the Hula Hut Bar. And I think that was on Washington Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's gone. You can look it up. And we got fucking sauce. Oh, God. I think we're drinking screwdrivers after screwdriver after. Those are cheap vodka with very little orange juice. These things were killers. So I get blitzed. You get a ride home, swerving around in a low rider car, having a fine old time. I knew the old pops would be fucking furious when I got home, and I did. He says, well, I told you always drink at home, and what is your mom gonna say? What kind of ticket did you go? I didn't get one. What? I didn't. Because I explained, like, oh, the old man is just get a little drunk. Fucking hypocritical piece of crap. 2 weeks later, he gets a DUI. So this is the end of my rambling story. I hope you enjoyed it. This will serve as story time for my dear and wonderful and beautiful best friend in the world, the Walnut Witch, aka Aspie, aka that's her name. Say good. See, yeah, see.